glory that's empty, and that's self-glory. But in lowliness of mind, let each esteem other better than themselves. Your whole life should always be, I said this to Sidney before class, and I said, I don't know of any preachers anywhere who know how to live 100% for God, and I don't know how to do that. And Sherry was sitting over and she said, I don't know how to do that either. Wouldn't it be good to know how to be like Christ? Paul said over in the 8th chapter of 1 Corinthians, every man should esteem another's welfare. Now that's what Jesus lived for. Our lives should be 100% for others and never for self. I wish I knew how to do that. Because see, that's the image of Christ. That's what we've been predestined to, in fellowship of suffering, to be shaped, and our walk should be totally like Christ. Dr. Oceani found a book. It's called the Arco Files, is that it? And he speaks of, and this is supposed to be a record of Jesus. I don't know if it's true or not, but it comes out of some archives, and they said that there were some men that would interview the men around Jesus, and they said that he would always turn to Mary and say, call her woman. And they interviewed her, and it's not so unusual that they would do that, because anyone who was considered subversive in the Roman Empire and calling themselves Lord, that was a treasonous act in the Roman Empire. If you called yourself Lord, only Caesar was Lord. And they said that this man that was interviewing Mary, and when you had 5,000 people following you, you were considered an insurrectionist. You were considered a man who was trying to overthrow the government. When you were feeding 5,000 at one city, and they were following everywhere, and they said that these men would interview Mary, and she'd say, he keeps calling me woman, and he'd say, woman, you don't know who I am. And they said he didn't care about his appearance. He wasn't concerned about who he was talking to, whether they were the poor or rich. And she said she thought he would never amount to anything.
Didn't care about any women.
Didn't care about women, didn't care about anybody, and he treated everyone the same. And you know what? It's huh?
He's always up the road talking to this old.
Yeah, he was always just talking, and he treated everybody the same. He was always very sober, and he would never ever show any favoritism to a poor or to a rich. He treated everybody the same way. Now that seems very reasonable and rational. Wouldn't it be great to be able to do that? And they said it didn't matter what his appearance was or what he looked like. He did not care. He wasn't concerned with that. And she said every time he turns to me, he says, woman, you don't know who I am. Whew. That's something, isn't it?
He said every time any kind of a conflict came up, he always said the words.
He said the words that were exactly right, and it would settle, and everyone would be afraid and look at him. You see, if we could only learn not to live for our car payment, our house note, our food, if we could learn to take no thought for our lives, then we could really truly become like Christ. And through the fire, the more and more fire we're going through, He's going to cause us, the older we get and the longer we live in the fire, to become more and more like Christ. And the only way you can do it is through fellowship. I've got that book. I'll bring it down here and read some from it. I think it's very interesting. Let's read here verse 4. Look not every man on his own things,